Hello everyone. Joel Nelson here. Welcome to our first and very exciting webinar for Complete Guide to Outsourcing to Virtual Assistants. If everyone could say a quick hello down in the chat below the video, just so I can see that everyone can hear me, please say hello. And we'll give it a couple more minutes, and then we will get going. I hear the audio on my end, and it looks like we are streaming live. So let's give it, say, 2 more minutes, let everyone else get here, and we'll start on our webinar. In the meantime, everyone please type into the chat box below the screen. Tell me who you are and where you are. It'd be great to hear from some people. And by the way, if you're having any problems with the video quality, just follow the instructions and make sure you set your YouTube settings, video quality settings to 480p, and that will work much better for you. And I see more people showing up. Welcome, welcome everyone. We're going to start in a couple more minutes. And I see my man Vic is online. Vic, can you please type into the chat, make sure the audio quality is good? Can you hear me okay? Excellent. Looks like the audio is loud and clear. People are piling in. Let's give it 1 more minute and we'll get this show on the road. I know a lot of you are taking time from your lunch to be here, and I totally respect that. Hopefully you brought a little lunch and you are snacking. So don't be afraid to snack. I can't hear you if you are a noisy chewer. So snack away. You are snacking anonymously. And speaking of snacks, I'm going to take a drink of water, and I think we're ready to roll. All right. Well, let's get this show on the road. Vic, my man, if we have any problems, just Skype me a message. In the meantime, let's get going. Welcome, everyone, to the Complete Guide to Outsourcing to the Philippines. I am your host, Joel Nelson. I am the founder of Zen Virtual Assistant Finder. And we're going to have a lot of fun on this webinar. And stay tuned, because somebody will actually really be meeting their custom virtual assistant absolutely free. So before we get to that, let's figure out why the heck we're here. Well, the reason you're here, and the reason you should be asking yourself, why are you here, is ask yourself, why am I committing my valuable and irreplaceable time to be here? And the answer is, you are here because your time is valuable and irreplaceable. You're also here because you are choosing to take responsibility for your time. Look, we can all make more money and start new projects. We cannot create more time. And our lives are such, between media and technology and our jobs, where we have less time than ever before. And I found some ways, with the help of Filipino virtual assistants, to organize my time a little better. And I'm going to share a few tips and tools with you that I think will be a big help. The main reason, though, is my goal is at the end of this webinar together that you will be feeling more peaceful, productive, and creative. And I do mean creative, because you cannot be creative if you are busy and being reactionary. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Now, some of you might be saying, well, hang on a second, I'm not an entrepreneur or small business owner, I'm not launching a podcast, online brand, whatever. I have a 9-to-5 job, a brick and mortar job. That's okay too. In fact, I can make the argument that it's perhaps people in your position who need to embrace the opportunities of outsourcing more than anyone else, and we're going to talk about that. Some of you might be unemployed. That's cool too. Some of you might be choose to be unemployed because you're dissatisfied with your job or your inability to truly get your voice out and value at your previous job. And I'm telling you, virtual assistants can help get you organized, launch your project or brand. Some of you might be a stay-at-home parent, and that's cool too. I mean, there are plenty of ways that you can work virtually with silly, busy tasks that you can get off your desk so you can spend more time with your family and loved ones and doing the stuff you enjoy doing. And again, circling back to those who have a quote-unquote job, working with virtual assistants are a great way to help you become what Seth Godin describes as indispensable, the indispensable linchpin in your job, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Before we go any further, I don't want to waste the time of anybody who enjoys being busy or stressed. And this is a real thing. Some people enjoy being busy and stressed. It's a form of addiction. I can understand it. It keeps you from feeling feelings you don't want to feel and making changes you perhaps could make for the better if you're always busy and stressed. Some people like feeling like the martyr. Oh, I don't have enough time in the day. I just can't get it all done, so on and so forth. So if you're in that place, I totally respect it. I've been there from time to time, and I know people there, but virtual assistants are not for you. But if you're ready to get past that, I think you'll find a lot of value working with virtual assistants. So I, in respect to your time, want to keep this to 30 minutes, not much more than 30 minutes. And here is what is in it for you at the end of this 30-minute webinar. Number one is you will have clear, actionable steps on who to work with to become more peaceful, productive, and creative. You'll have a clear understanding of the tools needed to be more peaceful, productive, and creative. And here's a spoiler alert, guys. All the tools you need to communicate with your virtual team are free and you're probably already using. And this is the provocative statement. This is the one where people kind of scratch their heads. What are you talking about? Here's one. You will leave this webinar feeling better than you are now. So it's a bit of a challenge, but I think it's true. And of course, stay tuned because you're going to see somebody actually meet their custom virtual assistant free, and we'll do that very soon. So before we go on, I want to do a final check-in, make sure the audio is good. Vic, everyone hear me okay? I'll just get a confirmation from Vic that audio is good, and we will get rolling. Looks like audio is good. Okay, everyone. So a wise man once said that the root of all suffering is ignorance. And I think it was this guy right here. So if you are stressed and dissatisfied with your managing or inability to manage time, not where you want to be somewhere different, it's not because you are smarter than someone or less smart than someone. It's simply because the people who are more organized at outsourcing and managing their time learned a couple tools. So all we're going to do in this webinar is point out a couple tools and enlighten you a little bit and hopefully alleviate some suffering. Now, before we get started with the actual meat and potatoes of what are virtual assistants, what are the tools we use, and what can you do immediately to start becoming a little more peaceful, I want to do this exercise. So if you guys will indulge me, it will take 60 seconds. And what we're going to do is what is, for many of us, the hardest thing to do. We're going to sit still together, and we're going to feel in our bodies where we carry stress. So let's do this together now for about 60 seconds. If you're in public, don't worry, you don't have to get in a lotus position or start doing yoga moves. Just sit there at your desk quietly, close your eyes, and let's take a couple deep breaths. Deep inhale. Easy exhale. Let's do one more. Inhale. And exhale. And let's think about the stresses that you've been feeling this week as we come up on Friday? What is not getting done? What work or project or task are you dissatisfied with? And where is that in your body? Is it in your lower back? Have you been sitting all day and wish you could be moving around? You have tightness in your neck and shoulders. That's where I carry it when I get stressed. You have a headache. Do your eyes hurt? Do your knees hurt? Just take a note. So just have a feel there. Where are you feeling the stresses of your projects and tasks in life? And just make a note to yourself. What are those feelings? Is it anxiety, fear, sadness, whatever? And if you wish, share some of those comments using the chat below this video. And if you don't want to, that's okay too. It's totally anonymous. We can't see who you are. Just type in what you're feeling. And if you're not comfortable with it, that's okay too. So let's get started. I'm going to cover the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, the how. So let's start with me. How did I get here? And why am I listening to Joel? Well, time I had a Kaya and CTA license. That's just a fancy term for Chartered Alternative Investment Analyst and Commodity Trading Advisor. I had a hedge fund where I traded commodities algorithmically. This is all just a fancy way to say that I created computer systems that trade commodities. Parallel to that, I created a podcast and was writing my first book, a 600-page book called Stupid Liar, which was about fact and fiction in finance. I also, while trying to do all this stuff by myself and be a know-it-all, gave myself an ulcer, a ton of anxiety, and was trying to use alcohol to wear it all down, and it didn't work. And then I came across this guy in this book. Many of us have read it. Many of us hadn't. Those of you who hadn't, I'll put a link and you can check it out because it's one of, I would say, the 5 single most important books you can ever read. It totally forces you to look at how you spend time and energy and resources. It's the 4-Hour Workweek. It's by Tim Ferriss. And in a relatively short section of the book, he talks about outsourcing. He talks about outsourcing to India and outsourcing to the Philippines. And quite frankly, it all sounded too good to be true. I did not believe that first of all, I never heard about virtual assistants, and I didn't believe that the things he was purporting in the book could be true, that you could work, well, as the title says, 4 hours a week and still be productive. But I was exhausted and I had nothing to lose, so I thought, I'm going to try it. I'm going to give myself 1 month and a $600 budget, and I'm going to find and hire a Filipino virtual assistant. I'm going to hire this person myself because I'm a know-it-all and I can do it. And after all, what do I have to lose? I'm already sick and I'm already struggling with getting these projects completed. What do I have to lose? Perhaps that sounds familiar to you. So I went to work and spent over a week searching online, building spreadsheets of virtual assistants that I thought would be able to help me. I then interviewed them. I did over 2 weeks, some 20+ interviews on Skype, interviewing different people, which was a fun exercise to meet people on Skype. But as you'll see, it didn't turn out to be particularly productive. But I finally hired my first virtual assistant based in the Philippines. And the results were, drum roll please, you guessed it, a disaster. In fact, I was busier and even more stressed than before. All the stress came from A, now I had to train the person to do all the things I wanted to do. B, it made me realize that maybe I didn't really even know how to train the people because I wasn't clear enough on what I was trying to accomplish, and things weren't getting done. It was a disaster. And it made me think of this analogy, and that is, as we grow up, we see people driving cars. And we think, wow, wouldn't it be great if we could have a car to drive? because we could get more done, we could cover greater distances, we could accomplish things we can't without a car, and could truly open up our world. So we go to the car lot because buying a car is easy. There's cars everywhere. So we go to the car lot, we buy a car, we hop in the car, we drive it off the lot, and then we crash it into the ditch. And the reason is because finding the car is easy. Knowing the car that's best for you and how to drive it is the hard part. Well, the same thing happens with outsourcing anywhere. Is finding a virtual assistant, as you will see, is easy. If you Google virtual assistant, you will get millions, and I do mean millions of results. That's the easy part. The hard part is knowing what is the best virtual assistant for you, how to communicate with them, and then how to work with them. And we're going to talk about all that today. So I decided to do one last try in my virtual assistant, and quite frankly, got lucky. And I met Miss Penny and Miss Kriza. And Penny and Kriza became my two first virtual assistants, and even some co-founders of the previous version of Zen Virtual Assistants Finder called Zen Virtual Assistants. Now these two women are what I would call total rock stars, and I'm going to share with you some of the things that they did for me. Let's start with email. They set up email folders, automated responses. They deleted spam before we even saw it. They would even politely answer the time-wasting emails, yes, from family and friends. You know the ones I'm talking about. They sync my calendar and my email. They manage the online calendar. Organize meeting times with clients and partners. No more sending an email, when can you meet? Only to reply, well, I can't meet then, how about Tuesday? And back and forth, back and forth. They handle all this. Send e-card invites and birthday reminders, and even booked some travel and trip tickets. When it came to managing data, they were awesome. They can create a Google Drive or a Dropbox account. They can organize folders. They can even get you organized in Google Docs, presentations, PowerPoint, Keynote, PDFs, whatever. And how about those of you who want to start a blog or podcast? How about doing a podcast and having them transcribe the audio from your podcast and turning it into a blog, uploading to blog, PDF, online research, data mining, replying to blog comments, replying to online voicemails, organizing those podcasts, searching for podcasts. Searching for podcasts, producing VAs to actually create the intros, outros, commercials for your podcast, uploading the finished podcast to a website or hosting site, posting, blogging, social media. How about the email management? You know, a lot of you are here because you're connected through me and our emails. Have a virtual assistant manage that. Schedule email blasts and follow-ups, newsletters, and emails. These are super cool. These are just a few examples of some of the custom animations, explainer animations that have been built for not only myself, but some friends and some colleagues. In fact, the videos, the animated videos that you will see later in this, or you can see right now at Zen Virtual Assistants Finder, were all created in the Philippines for a fraction, and I do mean a fraction, probably 10 to 20 cents on the dollar of what the exact equivalent or even lesser quality videos would be made here. And they can make anything. So think about that, those of you who are launching a business or have a product that you want a explainer video for. Of course, there's blogging, there's ghostwriting, guest posting. How about an ebook, writing, editing, formatting, putting the graphics in an ebook, images in an ebook, hyperlinks in an ebook, SEO, keyword research, and posting on bookmarking sites. How about analyzing your website? How about analyzing your competition's website? How about creating a landing page? How about creating a landing page like the one you are staring at right now to host your next webinar, either live or recorded, so on and so forth. And then finally, how about some super cool graphic designs? Maybe you're an artist and you want to get a business card out there. Business cards, art, infographics, anything that you can think of can be done for a fraction of the price domestically. In fact, the graphics that you are looking at right in front of you were all done for a flat fee, $25 US, done in less than 72 hours. It's that awesome in the Philippines. So these are just a few of the 99 tasks that I put together in a blog post. You don't have to go to this now, but I'll put a link down here in the chat bar. And you can check this out. It is a podcast that you can subscribe to, stream from the website, or simply read the transcription here, and it's getting shared a lot, which is really kind of cool and exciting. We've got, what, 460 something Twitter shares, 200 and something LinkedIn shares, so people are really digging it. I'm going to put this link here in the chat so that you can check this out at your convenience and have a listen and learn more of the 99 things you can outsource today. So let's take a moment here and think about what resonates with you. I mean, I listed close to 99 things. What of those that I listed are you actively doing now that are stressing you out? What of those are you actively doing now that maybe are not stressing you out, but let's be honest, maybe you're not the best person to be doing them? You know, what are those that I listed would you like to do? Have you dreamed about doing? Do you want to do but keep putting off because maybe you don't have the time or can't afford? Just take a note, write it down, and when we do the live Q&A at the end, you can ask me about it, but we can certainly connect you with the VA to help with any of that. So what can a Filipino virtual assistant do? Anything. Anything a traditional assistant can do, well, almost anything. They can't walk your dog, they can't pick up your dry cleaning, and they can't drive your car home. But if it's virtual, and in this world we live in, things are more and more virtual. Like you might be working virtually with somebody next to you in a cubicle. It is easier and easier to work virtually. There's a ton of stuff that we do that a virtual assistant can do quicker, cheaper, and better. So very quickly, where am I now? Well, I do a podcast. We're going to launch with 5 per day. We're currently doing 3 per week, and I should say we're going to move it up to 5 per week. Any of you who have ever done a podcast know what a mammoth task that is: finding guests, interviewing guests, editing podcasts, show notes, getting it posted, uploaded, hosting, so on and so forth. But with the virtual assistant, all this is getting done, and as you will see, I only meet with my team 2 hours per week. Sounds crazy, I know. I would have thought it was crazy a couple years ago, but it's not. It's true. I now have a team of 10 plus Filipino virtual assistants handling things ranging from podcast production, graphic design, copywriting, online research, working with customers here at Zen Virtual Assistants Finder. It's all outsourced. In fact, this company, Zen Virtual Assistant Finder, is totally virtual. It's launched totally virtual. I have literally never met in person, I should say, never met in person anybody who works at Zen Virtual Assistants Finder. It is all built virtually, and I'll tell you, my relationships with the team in the Philippines is literally closer than my relationship with my neighbors, my physical neighbors. So the world is different. We are much closer than ever before, and the world is smaller than ever before. I have 100 plus emails that are filtered down to less than 10 priorities. I can't stress enough how much time is wasted on emails. Key thing to start with when you get your first virtual assistant: let's get back to inbox 0. With the help of virtual assistant, with folders, filters, and even them deleting some emails and reviewing them before you wake up in the morning, you can get down to only priority emails. And again, it sounds crazy, but I promise I meet with my team 1 hour, Monday and Thursday mornings, and that's how we work. Oh, and by the way, I'm healthier, more peaceful, and more productive than ever. So this stuff really works, and I promise you the right, and I do emphasize right, Filipino virtual assistant can change your life, I promise. So let's talk about it. Now, if all this sounds too good to be true, I want you to stay tuned, because you will be meeting Mr. Vic. Mr. Vic is my top man. He is my project manager and team leader. He is going to be with us. He's on air right now with us, waiting to talk to us, and he is in the Philippines. In fact, it is 3:30 a.m. in the Philippines. Oh, excuse me, 2:30 a.m. No, 3:30 a.m. in the Philippines. And he got up to be with us today, so it'll be nice to talk with Vic. Vic, hang in there. You're going to meet some people, and then you can go back to sleep, I promise. So stay tuned to meet Vic. All right, so let's get started. Let's get started finding your very own custom virtual assistant. Well, the first thing before we can find the right virtual assistant for you is to figure out who you are. My friend Alicia Dunhams, who has a really awesome service which helps people write, well, as you can see, best-selling books in a weekend. It truly works. She has refined the process, systematized the process to writing a book down to a few key steps. And I met her when I was writing my book. And all of her ideas work. So if you get a second, check out Alicia Dunham's. But perhaps the most useful exercise Alicia has is what she calls the My Name Is. I help people buy so they can. Now, this seems easy, but it's deceptively easy. It sneaks up on you. It's harder than you think. We've basically spent our whole lives answering the question, hey, what do you do? Well, my name's Joel, I do X. Or my name's Sally, I do Y. But if we really think about it, it's a harder question to answer than you may think. So let's play along. Let me give you an example. Let's start with me. If someone said, hey, who are you? Here's how I would answer. My name is Joel. That's the easy part. I help people by educating them about the power of Filipino virtual assistants by using the best tools and tips to find, hire, and manage Filipino virtual teams. So people can suffer less, be more productive, and help others more. So I want you to try it. Let's try it right now. Let's take 60 seconds, grab pen, paper, and let's start with my name is. That's the easy part. Your name is what? Write it down. Now here comes the hard part. I help people buy what? What do you do that helps people? And if you want to fit in the chat, type your name and what it is you do in the chat. And let's try it. So let's think about it. Let's pick an example. There's about a 60-second lag between when I speak into the mic and it goes up to the live page. So let's think about an example. Let's say you are a family law attorney. So my name is Amy. I help people by being an attorney? No, because there's lots of attorneys and a lot of them don't help people. Really, how do you help people? Maybe if you're a family lawyer who cares, you might say, my name is Amy. I help people by guiding them through a complex, stressful, confusing legal process so they can get divorced? Well, maybe, but more than that, so they can amicably separate from their partner. Now, I just made that up off the top of my head. So if any of you have examples of your life, what is your name? You help people buy, and what do you do? Feel free to put those in chat. So now that those questions are answered, let me go out on a limb and say I'm pretty sure you did not, I repeat it, did not answer those questions like this. Hey, my name is Joel, and I help people by checking 100+ emails first thing in the morning and becoming reactionary to other people's agenda, then spending 3 hours to edit a podcast episode that an expert can do faster and better than me for 25 bucks, then checking my social media accounts only to realize that I have typos and different images in each of the account, and forgetting to add an important meeting to my calendar, wasting someone else's time, and then searching the internet for a plane ticket so I can save $100 when my time is probably worth 5+X that, of course, before spending a weekend building a WordPress site that I end up ruining because I don't know what I'm doing, and so on and so forth. Oh yeah, and so people can suffer less, be more peaceful, productive, and help others. I guarantee nobody answered a question like that. The tasks, the busy tasks that you do, the things that you would, I guess, quote, call your job, are not the real things that make you valuable. And they're not the real things that help people. They're the busy stuff you get mired down in that distract you or slow your ability to help people so they can hopefully suffer less, be more peaceful, and be more productive. What is the moral of this exercise? And what is the moral of this story? Do what you're good at, guys, and outsource the rest. And there's a ton of opportunity for you to outsource all that busy stuff so that A, you're less stressed, and B, actually showing up in the world and doing a better job. Now, can anyone outsource? You know, we've heard this word outsourcing, and of course we think about the spooky and inhumane call centers, all over the world, particularly in Southeast Asia, used by Fortune 500 companies. But can anyone really outsource? Well, let me ask you a question. Did you go to Starbucks today? Perhaps you have a Starbucks in front of you right now. Do you have any lunch plans? What are you eating right now? Did you make all that? Did you make the bread on that sandwich? Did you actually grow the lettuce in that salad? Did you drop your kids off at school today? And then did you use public transportation? In fact, did the public transportation come and pick your children up to take them to school? The point is you're already outsourcing all that stuff. You outsourced your coffee, you outsourced your food, you outsourced the education of your children, you outsourced the ability for your children to get from your house and get them to school. So you're already outsourcing, whether you have someone else mow your lawn, have someone else make your coffee, or have someone else build your website in a different country. You're already an outsourcing pro, and you're already doing it. The only thing now is you're going to learn how to outsource the stuff that keeps you busy and keep the stuff you are good at. So this brings us to the Philippines. As I just said, you can basically outsource anywhere. I mean, you can outsource across the street to a kid to mow your lawn. You can outsource down the street to Starbucks to build your coffee. But why the Philippines? Well, there's a couple of key reasons. Number one is high level of English proficiency. In fact, Filipino students learn in English in school from a young age and are taught and speak only English in schools. So you will be very often finding Filipino virtual assistants who have incredibly minor accents, if any, in English and grammar and copy editing skills better than certainly mine. The other unique thing about the Philippines is the access to internet and technology. So Filipino virtual assistants you're working with, many of which you work from home, or even in some cases a group office, have the internet speed and technology to communicate with you. No different than you communicating with your friends here in the States. The third thing that makes the Philippines unique is a relatively low cost of living to that in America. This simply means that all of these skills that you can find in the States can be done cheaper over there, simply because A, the overall cost of living is less, and B, the government subsidizes college. So you aren't dealing with, for example, a domestic graphic designer who went into a ton of debt to learn how to be a graphic designer and now has a mountain of college debt to pay off. You will not find a lot of debt in the Philippines, which people can work for less. And perhaps the most important part that certainly resonates with me, is personality. I defy you to find more honest, trustworthy, and kind people than in the Philippines. How trustworthy? Well, my virtual team, Vic specifically, who we're going to meet in a moment, has access to everything. Social media account, PayPal account, email, everything. I completely trust him. And as you can see, the guy woke up at 2:30 a.m., didn't be with us today. So what can you say? He's reliable, and he's an awesome dude who you're going to meet. Now quickly, a bit more about why the Philippines, and specifically the cost. This is a census put together by PayScale Inc. It's one of the independent think tanks the World Bank uses to figure out cost, living expenses, so forth around the world. And what you can see is if we look at the operations manager and project manager, they get paid annually for working well in excess of 40 hours a week, I might add. They get paid about 950,000 Filipino pesos. Now, what does that translate into? Now, keep in mind, this is people with master's degrees that would have the master's degree equivalent in the States, again, have a master's degree in the Philippines, and are operations managers, big project managers at information technology firms, IT firms. So 950,000 pesos is a little under $20,000. And this right here, these numbers that we're looking at here, is why there is a wave, an unstemmable wave of jobs and opportunities moving from the west to the east. And we can either be intimidated by this, or we can embrace it. And we're going to talk about how to embrace it in a second. So I just put together a very few, and I really emphasize a very few highlights of some of the people that you meet and work with in the Philippines. Look at this. Bachelor's degree, finance and management, degree in journalism and law, degree in marketing. How about a computer science technology graduate? Another degree, information technology, another bachelor's degree. Computer engineering technology graduate, bachelor's of science in hotel and restaurant management, degree in industrial engineering, all the way to ranging to child education. A computer science major in application development. You have that dream app or idea that you want built, and you want it built for $500 a month. You know the place to get it done, the Philippines, web designer. So what you can see is that the number of people able to help you is massive, enormous. I mean, if you Google Philippines virtual assistant, you will see, as you can see here, 223,000 results in about a third of a second. So the key is finding the right VA, the custom VA for you. And that's where we come in. So what the heck do we do? What is this Zen Virtual Assistance Finder? At the end of the day, our goal is very clear: to alleviate your suffering and help you become more peaceful, productive, and creative. We didn't start at the other end of the spectrum where we had this crazy idea for a service and we tried to find the market to make it happen. No, we went the other way. I thought about all the suffering and frustrations that I had in outsourcing. I thought all these suffering and frustrations that my friends and colleagues had when I started to introduce them to outsourcing. And we all were having the same problems, and we all were having the same successes. And I thought, well, if we keep the successes and alleviate a few problems, we're onto something. So that's what we do. How do we do it? It's a simple 5-step process. So number one, first of all, these images you're seeing are screenshots, videos from our site, Zen Virtual Assistance Finder. And if for no other reason, just pop over to that site and check out some of these videos. They're custom animations. And if you were in the market for a custom animation, just imagine what some cool stuff like this could do for your business or website. They're really fun to make, and even the Philippines can knock them out. But anyway, step one, a free 15-minute consultation to learn your needs. And the reality is these 15-minute consultations usually end up being closer to 30. But what I didn't like about some of the other services that offer matchmaking services with Western entrepreneurs and virtual assistants was, first of all, they want you to pay before they'll even talk to you. And if you're someone like I was who didn't even know where to start, didn't know what a virtual assistant could do, that seemed kind of lame and a step too far. So free consult, just have a chat with us. It will either be me or someone on our team, and we can learn about you and your business and if we can help or not. Step two, the friend clarity form. This is a detailed form that you will go through with a member of our team. They will ask you about your business, and we will learn exactly what it is you are doing, what you want to do, what you need to do, and we'll have a clear idea that will help you be clear on the best virtual assistant for you. Step three, this is the part where we begin vetting and searching for custom virtual assistants just for you. We do background checks, reference checks, personal interviews, and make sure that you are only going to be meeting the very best virtual assistants to get the job done. Step four, in less than a week, you will be meeting 3+ custom virtual assistants. Now, I say 3+ because many of our clients have big projects. So maybe they're launching a brand or a website. In that case, they may need what we call a project manager, someone to manage a group of sub-VAs. So they may need a project manager, they may need a graphic designer, they may need an animation expert to create these videos, they may need a podcast expert, they may need an SEO expert. Whatever your job and case is, same fee. We put all the people together so you're meeting only people who can do your job and have done your job for others. And then 5, after the interview, you have a think about it and you choose the best candidate for you. And what I think you'll see, what we always see anyway, is that the level of quality, the people that can actually do the work is the same. Everyone can do the job, right? They all have the skills to do it. At the end of the day, it comes down to personality. Like, who do you have the best feeling with, and who would you like to work with on a one-on-one basis going forward? And ultimately, that's up to your heart and your gut. It doesn't stop there. We then check in after 2 weeks to see how things are going. Just make sure everything's organized and things are running smoothly, and if not, we do our best to find solutions. So here's just a couple testimonials I took off the website. If you want to see more, just pop over to zenvirtualassistantfinder.com, zenvirtualassistantfinder.com, you can see more. So here's one from our buddy Kurt. He says, I am busy all day building beautiful custom presentations for my clients and running my business. I don't have time to handle marketing and promotion. ZVAF found me a great VA to engage with my connections, keep them posted about my services, and bring me new clients. Thanks, ZVAF. Here's another one. A really nice man, Vincent. Vincent is launching a whole brand podcast, website, blog, and so forth. Vincent says, ZVF is a godsend solution for my dream to launch a podcast business in September 2015. As a full-time software consultant and family man, I knew I didn't have enough hours in the day, nor the skills to create a business that was solely dependent on limited time. When Joel introduced me to candidates who could do the work, we went through a clear process of interviewing, assessment of the candidate qualities, and I knew that ZVF was instrumental in helping me source a successful team. Today, I have a social media manager, a web designer, and VAs who are dedicating their time to ensure this business will launch with impact. Thanks, Ben. And finally, Mike. Mike is a new breed of financial manager dedicated to actually delivering value to his investors at Melissa Knows Trading. He says, I need to stay focused on what matters, research and investment returns. I can't get bogged down in busy work. Zen Virtual Assistants Finder found me a great Filipino virtual assistants to build website, blog, podcast. Great time saver and great value. So I think what you see is that there's a really wide range of people who have used our services, from super techie, whether launching a custom app, to here, hedge fund manager, to a presentation creator, to Vincent, who's creating a dedicated blog and podcast to Christian studies. So it's everybody and in between. Okay, but then, so great. Now you hire your virtual assistant, and it's all exciting, but then the honeymoon period comes to an end when you realize you're not that organized. Well, the key to success, or another way for me to phrase that, is the key to every failure we have seen at Zen Virtual Assistants Finder is when people defiantly refuse to do the one thing that we tell them is the most important thing to do: task management. Task management software specifically. That is a unified place. The who, what, where, when, why, and how of you and your project goes into one place on the internet in task management software for you and your virtual assistant to stay organized. Now, there's no shortage of task management software. In fact, I was just doing a search this morning, and I think it came up 100 different, or top 100 task management softwares. So much like finding a virtual assistant, finding a task management software is no problem. So whether you like Zoho, Asana, Trello, Basecamp, or Red Booth, it doesn't matter. The key to your success with your virtual assistant will be having some sort of task management software. Or again, it's a place where who, what, where, when, why, and how. And I'll tell you on a personal note, I'm very quickly falling in love with Trello. Trello is free. If you have a Gmail account, it instantly syncs. And if you can move a sticky pad on your desk from left to right, you can operate Trello, because all it is essentially sticky pads, digital on steroids. It is so intuitive, easy to use, and super organized. So let me recommend Trello, and it's free. Speaking of free stuff, okay, now you're organized with your task management. Now you have a virtual assistant that you like and are excited to work with. How do you communicate? Again, more free stuff. You're already using these tools, everyone. How about FaceTime? How about Skype? How about Google Hangouts? And again, if I have to recommend one, I am loving Google Hangouts. We use that the most. Makes it easy to share screen, share links, draw images. It seems to be more reliable than Skype, so check it out. And again, free, free, free. The next thing you do is what I do. I do a weekly check-in. I like Mondays and Thursdays. Maybe you like Mondays, Fridays, or Sundays and Wednesdays. It doesn't matter. It's just about checking in with your virtual assistant or team using one of these free tools, doing some screen sharing, using that task management software, and make sure things are getting done, and keeping open communication. So how about payment? So we've talked about virtual assistants, tools to use, how to communicate with them, often to check in with them. Well, now it's time to pay them. First of all, let me tell you what you would expect to pay a virtual assistant. You will expect to pay a project managing virtual assistant anywhere from $5 to $7 per hour. And I highly encourage you to always go to the high end. I mean, we're already saving a ton of money outsourcing, where somebody's working for us for, they have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, the equivalent of somebody who would probably charge literally hundreds of dollars in some cases, particularly in accounting, for example. In the West, somebody is doing for $5 to $7 in the East, and I encourage you to always pay more. It's a great way to keep morale up, and with the margins being so great, it's silly not to. So what do you expect to pay? You would expect to pay $5 to $7 US for a project manager, all the way up to, say, $15 an hour for a fully custom mobile app development team. I actually know that quote off the top of my head because it's being done right now for me. And how do you pay them? It's easy. PayPal. For those of you who have questions about taxes, that's easy too. It's simply an independent consultant. That's all they are. No different than you would pay a consultant domestically. You're paying a paid independent consultant internationally, and that's it. Pay with PayPal. One click, and you're done. Well, the time has come. I am very excited to welcome our man, Vic. I'm going to unmute Vic's microphone, and I'm hoping he is here. Vic, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, this is exciting, Vic. Welcome to the webinar. Well, Vic, as I said, you are the man. You run the show for me, and I thought this would be a great opportunity for some of the people here to get a feeling for what it's like to work with a virtual assistant. So let's start by finding out, Vic, do you speak English?
Yes. At the very beginning of our lives, we go to school, and English is a major subject in the school. So literally wherever you go in the Philippines, whatever medium you use, like TV, magazine, radio, we all have English as our medium of expression, aside from our national language.
Well, thank you for clearing that up, Vic. Of course, I'm joking. I know you speak excellent English, and you actually do most of the copy editing for me. So, at this stage, I guess I should open up to you. There's so many questions. One of the things is people talk about cost, and some people quite rightly are worried. They're like, is it really fair of me to pay, especially someone like yourself with such high-level skills and experience and credentials, $7 to $10 an hour? Is that really fair? Maybe you could address that, Vic, and tell us, about the cost of living in the Philippines and, what sort of lifestyle one can live with $10 per hour.
Yeah, actually $7 to $10 per hour is already a livable amount here in the Philippines. You can just eat, a meal probably for half a cent or probably $1. Mm-hmm. So, having $7 to $10 per hour, and it's only per hour, is already achievable, and it's already manageable for a Filipino VA, for them to have a decent living. And that's actually enough for a VA to sustain his or her bills, payments, and etc. So that's already fair enough for a Filipino VA. Of course, the higher, the better. It also depends on the qualifications of the VA or the credentials the Filipino VA has, Joel.
Well, speaking of credentials, Vic, share a little bit about your blog. Ladies and gentlemen here on the webinar, Vic is one of the leading bloggers in the Philippines, and he actually manages multiple blogs, but one especially for the city of Cagayan de Oro. So Vic doesn't just help people with this stuff. He doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. Vic, tell us a little bit about your blogging experience.
Yes, so I have been blogging for 7 years. I have a personal blog, which has already reached of a finalist of a blogging awards. Other than that, my other blog is like a city blog. It talks about events within the city, new stores that has opened in the city, and it has gained an award actually last year. So this experiences that I do in blogging, I also apply that to ZenVA Finder and to the rest of my past clients, Joel.
Well, if anybody has any questions for Vic, type them into the chat. I know coming up on an hour, I want to respect everyone's time and wrap this up. So I'm going to wrap it up right now. But Vic, thank you again for waking up so early, staying up so late, depending on how you look at it. And if anyone has questions for Vic, just type them on the chat and he will be happy to answer them. At this stage, Vic, I will mute your microphone and I will go back to wrap up the webinar. But thank you.
All right, Joel, a pleasure.
And Cassian, the best. Thank you. So I think you can probably tell a few things just from that brief interaction. And I wish we had more time, but I want to be respectful of getting everyone off this call, like I said, in less than an hour. Obviously, Vic is incredibly polite and hugely talented. He's even given TED Talks on social media and blogging in the Philippines. And you can see how easy it is to communicate with your virtual assistant. So I hope that puts any questions to rest. Now, this stuff could take a lot more time, and I'm kind of going to rush through it, but very quickly, it's about being indispensable. And of course, Seth, great author and blogger himself, wrote this book that I highly recommend for everybody about being indispensable. And basically, I'll give you the notes version, but it's that the world is different now. It's not about working on an assembly line anymore. That in order for us to excel, let alone keep our jobs, those of you who have jobs, quote unquote jobs, that we need to do more. And we need to become what he calls indispensable. We need to be people, or I should say the people that matter are those who control the production, make a difference, lead us, and connect us. And you need to be indispensable in your organization. And I venture to say that if you are a person who knows how to manage virtual teams, that if you are a person who can go to your manager or boss and say, hey, you know that project you were talking about? I have an idea. I think I can manage this project. I think I can get it done in the Philippines. I know the people to get it done in the Philippines. I can get it done for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar, and I can get it done faster. What do you think? What do we have to lose? I'm telling you, if you become that person in the organization, you will not have to worry about keeping a job or finding a job. So Seth talks about becoming a linchpin, and I venture to say that if you can become the individual who walks into the place of chaos and project of chaos and creates order and peace, you are indispensable. If you can invent, connect, create, and make things happen, again, with your knowledge of being a virtual manager, that is hugely invaluable. You become a linchpin. If you're the initiator of solutions and opportunities and not waiting for instructions, if you're initiating how we can get this done in the Philippines faster and for less, and with equal or greater quality, you are indispensable. So I'm going to quickly blow through these things. These are the 7 abilities of a linchpin, and then we're going to wrap things up, and we're going to announce, that's right, who's going to win and meet their very own virtual assistant. So coming up in a couple minutes, somebody will meet their very own custom virtual assistant. This is the funnest part of this webinar stuff, so stay tuned. So very briefly, the 7 abilities of the linchpin are providing a unique interface between members of the organization, i.e. you can be that person with your knowledge of outsourcing, delivering unique creativity. If you are the local expert in outsourcing, that is some pretty unique creativity. Managing a situation or organization of great complexity without getting all those office tasks organized, distilled into a virtual funnel, and shipped off to the Philippines. That's a huge linchpin opportunity. Leading customers, maybe it's helping customers, and using outsourcing to do so, and inspiring the people around you, and possessing a unique talent. If you have one or all of those things, man, you are off to the races. So make yourself valuable. Those of you who, again, aren't entrepreneurs, don't have a project that involves you, but maybe you're working in an office environment, consider how you can become the linchpin, you can become valuable, you can become indispensable using Filipino virtual assistants. So now we're going to close things out. And before we meet our virtual assistant, or I should say before one of our lucky attendees meets their virtual assistant for free, let's close out our time together with a quick 60-second meditation, just like we had before. So let's sit comfortable. Again, if you're in the office, you don't need to be in lotus. Feet on the floor, hands on your lap. Let's take one deep breath in. And one deep breath out. And one deep breath in. And exhale. And now let's imagine some feelings. Let's imagine the projects that are stressing us out. Let's imagine that getting done faster, cheaper in the Philippines. Let's imagine feeling valued and indispensable with our colleagues and in our organizations. And let's imagine being that linchpin, either in our own business or in someone else's business, that invaluable person who knows how to work with virtual teams in the Philippines and getting things done. And that's it. And I just want you to notice how you're feeling now compared to how you were feeling when we first did this at the beginning of the podcast. And the feelings moved or changed? Are they at a different frequency, place? Just take note. So how do you meet your virtual custom assistants in less than 7 days? It's a pretty darn simple process. So here's the cool part. Now, I want to be very fair about this because we're offering a free bonus. It's going to last 15 minutes, but I don't want to tell you about it until everyone has a chance to get ready and participate. So when we're ready, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to ask you, when you're ready to meet your free virtual assistant, here's how it's going to happen. You are going to click on the button below the video that says, "Love it, let's do this, buy now please." And what will happen is that will take you to a PayPal page where you will make a one-time only payment of 400 US bucks. And here's the thing, if you are the very first person in the next 15 minutes to make that payment, then we refund you and we provide our services absolutely free. So how do we end up with the $400 price point? Well, first of all, our regular price is $497. And this isn't just arbitrary. I want to tell you how we came up with this. It's just basic math, which is if people work 40 hours per week and they are paid $5 per hour and they work for a month, that comes out to be $800 US. So the whole point of Zen Virtual Assistance Finder is to save a ton of wasted time, probably months, that you would do training the wrong person because you chose the wrong person, plus time wasted searching, likely choosing the wrong person if you've never outsourced before and you've never worked with project management. So we set it up so it had to be, quite frankly, silly not to work with Zen Virtual Assistant Finder to find the very best custom vetted virtual assistant just for you. So here's what's going to happen. For the next 15 minutes, the price will be 400 bucks, and I'm going to be totally fair and strict on this because I can't stand it when webinars say one thing and do another. If you showed up and you're here, you did your meditations with me, and you took your lunch break to be here with me, you deserve a deal, and that is only fair. So for 400 bucks, here's what will happen. First of all, the very first person that makes payment through that PayPal link, the "Love it, let's do it, buy now please" link below, we will announce here on the podcast live while I'm doing a live Q&A, and you will get the service absolutely free. And what is the service? Here's the reminder, 5-step process. You will consult with us. We will find you at least 3, as many as 5 custom VAs that fit your needs, help you get them organized with task management, and launch your project. So again, 400 bucks in the next 15 minutes, that's not it. Also, we're going to give you the free complete guide to outsourcing to the Philippines. It's a free ebook we created with some great tips and tools. You will have a personal consultation with me. So I will personally be guiding your onboarding process with your staff and be on all the interview calls. I will personally be on the interview with you when you're meeting your virtual assistants via a video chat to make sure you ask all the right questions and no stone is left unturned. I will personally help you and your virtual assistant set up your online project management using the tips and tools that I've used. As I said, I'm a big fan of Trello, and I can show you exactly how I use that to manage our teams. I will give you 2 personal check-ins, so that's the week after you choose your virtual assistant and a week after that, just to make sure everything is running smooth. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to pop over here and put on the 15-minute timer. I'm going to share that so that everybody knows it's happening. Yeah, I'm going to open this up for a live Q&A section. So stand by. I'm going to start the timer, and then I'm ready to take some live Q&A. And remember, the first person to make the $400 next 15-minute only payment gets it refunded, and you get the whole darn thing for free. So you do that, and I will start the timer in 3, 2, and 1. And the timer is ticking. So while I'm waiting for comments, just type down there in the chat box. I just want to very sincerely thank everybody for showing up. I know you have a lot to do, a lot of things you want to get done, and taking a step back to learn how to do that with a virtual assistant is a big step, and I hope you found this productive. If there's anything I missed, do please let me know what questions you have. Just type down in the live chat, and Vic, my man, and I will handle everything. And then timer's going. There we go, 13 minutes left. And there it is, live Q&A. Yeah, so got about 12 minutes left. And again, first person to purchase gets the service absolutely free. And I will personally guide you through the entire process. Also, what I can do in the meantime is please check out the last couple of podcast episodes that we did with some pretty interesting people. It actually fits in perfectly with working with virtual assistants. Well, obviously it should be. It's a podcast dedicated to virtual assistants, but specifically working with systems. We had a great guest on who shared some tips about building systems to follow, and even has some pre-built, pre-vetted systems, processes you can buy to work with a virtual assistant. The other guest we had on recently talks a lot about peaceful productivity, which is absolutely what we're about here. So I'm going to give it another 60 seconds. Any questions you have, you can pop them in here. Alternatively, if you come up with questions later and want to set up a free consultation with us, we can do that as well. Do keep in mind that, of course, we won't offer the, it'll be back at the regular price, $497. But I'll put that booking link in here for you. Stand by. I'll put that down here in the chat box. And consider a free consultation. And that should be in the chat. You can just click on that. I'll give this another 60 seconds here. And then I will say goodbye until next time. And I really enjoy doing this. It was a lot of fun. Again, just a reminder, those of you click in the next 15 minutes, well, it's actually, 9 minutes now, $400 all-in fee, includes up to 5 personal vetted custom virtual assistant introductions, personal consultation with me to get organized, personal interview assistance where I will be on the call with you interviewing VAs, personal project management and outline, getting you organized and your VA organized, and then a couple of personal check-ins to make sure everything is. And do consider checking out our podcast, easy to find at zenvirtualassistancefinder.com/podcast. We are at 56 episodes already with all kinds of interesting guests who work with virtual assistants and share tips and tools, not only about their business, but about how they work with virtual teams. So check that out. I'll give us another 60 seconds. And then I will say thank you and good afternoon to all of you. And again, any questions you have, we're always available. Just pop over to zenvirtualassistancefinder.com and consider setting up a free consultation with us. Well, I'm going to say a very sincere thank you to everybody. We'll be checking our PayPal. It's very easy. The very first person, top of the list, first one to make payments, will be notifying you that you your service for free. So it's very exciting. And thank you all for being here. I hope this was of help. I hope we brought a little peace and productivity to you. And if you have any questions, you know where to find us. Thank you all so much and have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Thank you.